Electric cars were supposed to be the future, but these 10 turned that dream into a nightmare. We're talking breakdowns, recalls, and one EV so dangerous, owners were told it could set their house on fire. And wait until you hear what happened in number 1. Number 10. 2021 to 2023 Mazda MX-30. Kicking off our list is a car that wasn't so much unreliable as it was just pointless. Meet the Mazda MX-30. On paper, Mazda promised a stylish, fun-to-drive electric crossover for the city. It had those cool, backward-opening freestyle doors, a beautiful interior made from sustainable materials, and that zoom-zoom spirit Mazda is famous for. It was supposed to be the perfect little eco-friendly runabout. The reality? A car so compromised, it was almost useless. The biggest issue was its pathetic range. With a tiny 35.5 kilowatt-hour battery, it was officially rated for just 100 miles on a full charge. In the real world, especially when it got cold, that number would plummet. That tiny battery powered a modest 143 horsepower motor, and to make matters worse, it charged slowly with a max DC fast charging speed of just 40 kilowatts. It felt like a car from 2012 that somehow got launched in 2022. The MX-30 was an answer to a question no one was asking. Buyers stayed away in droves, and Mazda pulled it from the US market after just 2 years. It makes this list not for being dangerous, but for being one of the worst values in EV history. But while the Mazda was a failure of purpose, our next car comes from a legendary brand that promised a perfect people's EV and delivered a software nightmare instead. Number 9. 2021 Volkswagen ID.4. At number 9 is the Volkswagen ID.4, the car that was meant to be the people's EV and take the fight directly to the Tesla Model Y. VW promised us dependable German engineering, a roomy interior, and a simple, user-friendly experience for people switching to electric. It was meant to be the safe, mainstream choice from a brand everyone trusts. Unfortunately, the reality for many has been a nightmare of bugs and glitches. The main complaint is about the infotainment system, which owners have called laggy, unresponsive, and just plain broken. We're talking screens that go black, constant connection issues with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and a user interface that's anything but user-friendly. On top of the tech headaches, the ID.4 has faced major recalls for its software. It has also been recalled for faulty door handles that could allow water in and cause the doors to open unexpectedly. This reputation for subpar reliability has sent its resale value through the floor. But if a buggy infotainment system is bad, imagine buying the electric version of America's toughest truck, only to find out it can't do the one thing a truck is supposed to do. Coming up next, the king of the road that can't handle a trailer. Number 8. 2022 Ford F-150 Lightning. Number 8 is the electric version of the undisputed king of American roads, the Ford F-150 Lightning. The F-150 Lightning was pitched as a revolution. It promised all the toughness of a normal F-150, but with insane acceleration, up to 563 horsepower, and all the perks of being electric. It was supposed to be the ultimate work truck, just as capable on the job site as it was on the street. The problem is, for anyone who actually needed to use it as a truck, that promise fell apart fast. The Lightning's single biggest flaw is its abysmal towing range. The truck comes with 2 battery options: a standard range with an EPA estimated 230 miles and an extended range with up to 320 miles. While the max towing capacity is a respectable 10,000 pounds with the right package, the second you hitch up a moderately heavy trailer, the truck's range can get cut by more than half. There are endless reports of owners starting with a full battery, only to see their range estimate drop to less than 100 miles, turning a simple trip into a logistical nightmare of finding chargers. A truck that can't tow is like a boat that can't float. A truck that can't tow is a massive failure. But what happens when you pay a premium for luxury and get hit with major electrical faults and shocking depreciation? Next up, we're heading into high-end territory with a German SUV that failed to deliver on its promise of quality. Number 7. 2019 Audi Q8 e-tron. In the number 7 spot, we're moving into luxury territory with the Audi Q8 e-tron. As Audi's first real EV, the e-tron was supposed to offer a premium, quiet, and high-tech driving experience. The idea was to surround you in a silent, luxurious cabin and deliver that solid, planted feel of a high-end German SUV, but with zero emissions. For many owners, the experience has been anything but serene. The Q8 e-tron has been plagued by electrical system faults and battery issues, so much so that Consumer Reports actually revoked its recommendation for the model. A recall in late 2023 affected nearly 27,000 vehicles from the 2019-2022 model years due to issues with battery modules that could lead to failure. These problems have also led to shockingly fast depreciation, with owners losing money far more quickly than they would on Audi's gas-powered SUVs. When you pay the premium for a brand like Audi, you expect premium reliability. The Q8 e-tron just hasn't delivered. But at least the Audi's problems were just financial and electrical. The car at number 6 was an EV pioneer, but it had a fatal flaw that literally cooked its own battery to death, leaving owners with practically worthless cars. Number 6. 2011 to 2017 Nissan Leaf. Next is an EV pioneer, but one that made its early adopters pay a heavy price. The first generation Nissan Leaf. The Leaf was one of the very first mass-market EVs, promising to bring affordable electric driving to the masses. It was a huge and important step forward, giving us a peek into a gas-free future. But the early Leaf had a fatal flaw: its battery. It didn't have a liquid cooling system, which meant the battery packs were incredibly vulnerable to heat. In warmer climates, this caused catastrophic battery degradation. Owners could only watch in horror as their car's maximum range disappeared. With an original battery size of just 24 kilowatt-hours, losing capacity was a huge deal. It wasn't uncommon for a Leaf to lose its first capacity bar, representing a 15% drop in health within about 3 years and 29,000 miles. The problem was so widespread it even got its own nickname, Rapid Gate, referring to how quickly the battery would overheat and slow its charging speed during long trips. The early Leaf is a classic case of new tech that wasn't quite ready. It walked so other EVs could run, but it left a trail of angry owners with nearly worthless cars, and a harsh lesson on the importance of cooling your batteries. The Leaf was a victim of early technology. But our next car is a modern EV that won awards and praise from critics, only for thousands of owners to discover it was the single least reliable electric car you can buy. Number 5. 2022 MG4 EV. At number 5 is a newer car that quickly made a name for itself, and for all the wrong reasons: the MG4 EV. The MG4 showed up with a great pitch, a stylish, fun, and most importantly, affordable electric car. With options like a 64 kilowatt-hour battery, 201 horsepower, and a competitive price, it won a bunch of awards, and journalists praised its value, making it look like a real winner in the budget EV market. But once the cars got into the hands of thousands of owners, a very different story emerged. In a massive survey by What Car, the MG4 was named the least reliable EV you can buy, with a shocking reliability score of just 63.8%. Owners reported a huge variety of faults, but the most common issues were with the electronics, the battery and charging system, and the interior trim. Many owners say that while the car works, it's a pain to live with because of constant little problems. The MG4 is a perfect example of you get what you pay for. That low price is tempting, but the poor quality control means ownership can quickly become a frustrating and expensive headache. The MG4 proves that a low price can hide a lot of problems. But what happens when one of the most respected, high-performance brands in the world releases an EV that's an absolute financial nightmare? You might be shocked by our number 4 pick. Number 4. 2020 Porsche Taycan. This one might be a shock. At number 4 is a car from one of the most respected performance brands on Earth, the Porsche Taycan. The Taycan was Porsche's loud and clear statement that they were serious about electric. It promised to be the first EV that was a true driver's car, mixing mind-blowing acceleration with the sharp handling and perfect build quality that Porsche is known for. And while the Taycan absolutely delivers on performance, its reliability has been a real weak spot, especially when it comes to its complex electronics. But the real horror story for owners is the depreciation. Taycans lose value at a staggering rate, with some models dropping nearly 50 to 60% in just a couple of years. A car that sold for well over 6 figures can now be bought for the price of a nice sedan. According to Kelley Blue Book, a 2020 Taycan that was once top of the line now has a resale value of under $40,000. Owning a Porsche is always expensive, but the Taycan takes it to a whole new level. It's an amazing car to drive, but the combination of reliability worries and depreciation that falls like a rock makes it a financial nightmare. As bad as that depreciation is, at least a Taycan probably won't burn your house down. Our next car had a much more dangerous secret, a defect so bad that owners were told not to park it in their own garages. Number 3. 2019-2022 Hyundai Kona Electric. Our top 3 starts with a car that had a very real and very dangerous secret. The Hyundai Kona Electric. On paper, the Kona Electric was a fantastic package. It offered long range from its 64 kilowatt-hour battery pack, quick acceleration, and a practical crossover design at a great price. It was widely considered one of the best mainstream EVs you could buy. The reality was a terrifying fire risk. Thanks to a manufacturing defect in its LG Chem battery cells, specifically a folded anode tab that could cause a short circuit, the Kona Electric was prone to catching fire all by itself, even when it was parked and turned off. This led to a massive global recall of around 82,000 vehicles, one of the most expensive recalls in EV history, costing an estimated $900 million. For a while, owners were officially told not to park their cars in their own garages or near their houses, for fear they might spontaneously erupt in flames. A car that you're afraid to park in your own home is an undeniable failure. Surprised. The fire risk is terrifying, but it's arguably not as bad as a car company completely collapsing. Coming in at number 2 is a car so beautiful and so doomed, it became a legendary automotive disaster. Number 2, 2012 Fisker Karma. At number 2, we have the beautiful disaster that was the Fisker Karma. The Fisker Karma was supposed to be the future. It was launched with a ton of hype, a stunningly gorgeous luxury sedan with a unique plug-in hybrid system. It combined a 20 kilowatt-hour battery pack with a 260 horsepower 2-liter GM-sourced gas engine that acted as a generator, promising to be eco-friendly without sacrificing style. It was backed by celebrity endorsements and government loans. It looked like a real challenger to Tesla. In reality, the Karma was a catastrophe from start to finish. The cars were plagued by fires, with one infamous incident burning down an owner's garage. They were notoriously unreliable, suffering from endless software glitches and system failures, leading Consumer Reports to call the car flawed. The company burned through cash, had to recall every car it ever sold, and then its battery supplier, A123 Systems, went bankrupt, forcing Fisker to stop production entirely. The final nail in the coffin came when Hurricane Sandy flooded a port in New Jersey, destroying over 300 brand-new Karmas at once. The Fisker Karma is a legendary failure. It was a car that looked like $1 million, but was built like a rough prototype. The company collapsed, leaving the few owners with beautiful, unsupported, and often broken pieces of automotive art. It's a legendary failure, a true cautionary tale. But what if I told you the exact same person came back a decade later and did it all over again, but even worse? Coming in at number 1 is a car that proves history really does repeat itself. Number 1. 2023-2024 Fisker Ocean. And at the number 1 spot, proving that lightning can and will strike the same place twice, is the spiritual successor to our number 2 pick, the 2023 Fisker Ocean. History repeated itself. The Fisker Ocean was promised as a stylish, innovative, and sustainable electric SUV. It had cool features like a solar panel roof, a rotating screen, and an impressive claimed range of up to 360 miles on its top trims. It generated massive hype and thousands of reservations. Designer Henrik Fisker was back, promising he'd learned from the mistakes of the Karma. He hadn't. The Fisker Ocean is, without a doubt, one of the most disastrous car launches in modern history. The vehicles were delivered to customers in a state that can only be described as unfinished. They are filled with severe software bugs, and key features like adaptive cruise control were simply missing. Owners reported an incredible number of problems: key fobs dying, doors refusing to open, sudden losses of power, and cars completely bricking, becoming totally unusable. To make it all infinitely worse, Fisker declared bankruptcy in June 2024, stopping production and completely abandoning its customers. People who paid up to $70,000 are now stuck with unsupported, unreliable, and rapidly depreciating SUVs with zero chance of future repairs or updates. The Fisker Ocean is the undisputed worst EV on this list. It's not just a bad car. It's a complete and total catastrophe that combines awful execution with corporate collapse, leaving its customers in a situation far worse than any Tesla owner could ever dream of. Think these EV disasters were bad? You haven't seen anything yet. In our previous video, we exposed the 10 best and most reliable BMW models worth owning after warranty, proof that not all cars will drain your wallet. Watch it now and see which BMWs stand the test of time.